Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the most important recording project ever. You guessed it. And this one is one that may surprise you, and I hope it does, because it should give you a little something to think about. It's the deluxe edition of Spartacus on Varèse Sarabande. Oh my gosh, is this an amazing, amazing release. It's no longer available. It was a limited edition of, I think, 5,000 copies. It was produced by Robert Townsend, the leading genius behind Varèse Sarabande. It was, I think, his 1,000th production. It's an amazing legacy, which is now just sitting in limbo with Concord Music or something. It's just a mess. Ridiculous, horrible, silly, stupid, well, never mind. Let's talk about Spartacus. Why is this one of the most important productions ever? Well, let me tell you what's in it, and then maybe that'll give you a sense. First, you get an absolutely fabulous, this is quite a set for a film score, isn't it? It's by Alex North, by the way. It's one of Alex North's greatest film masterpieces, and we'll get to that too in a moment. First, you get a beautiful hardback booklet, all about the production and the film and the scores and then the material. Now, North himself made a selection of 70 minutes of music from the film, which Jerry Goldsmith was supposed to record, but it never happened before Jerry Goldsmith passed away. So that was unfortunate, and it didn't get done. So what they did was, you get instead, if you open this main thing, which has 4 discs, you get all of the stereo material that was recorded for the film. Now, there's a lot of music for this movie, tons and tons of music. And it was recorded in 1960. And in those days, film soundtracks were often done in mono, some were done in stereo and whatnot. So you get all the stereo material, about 70 minutes of music on disc 1. Then discs 2, 3, and 4 give you the complete music that was ever recorded for the film, including sample things and outtakes and additional stuff, 3 discs worth of it, including the complete film score in mono, in chronological order, and then all of the extra material. So this is as complete a thing as you will ever get. And as you probably know, since you're following this series of film scores and whatnot, you know that so much of this stuff has to be rebuilt and reconstructed and rediscovered and re-edited, because Hollywood did not treat the film score soundtracks with the loving care that we now think that they deserve. So that's this box. Then you get 2 discs of other famous people playing variations on the Spartacus love theme. It's Varunia, whatever her name was, his theme. And it's just an unbelievable list of people here who do these things. Bill Evans, Yusuf Lateef, Mark Isham, Dave Grusin, Nathan Baer, and Elizabeth Scott, Carlos Santana, Terry Collier, Patrick Doyle, Joel McNeely, Layla Schifrin, the Ramsey Lewis Trio, and that's just disc 1. Really just a fabulous tribute to the marvelous music in Spartacus. And then you get a DVD of all these people talking about the film. And I mean the score, about Alex North and the score. And the people are Alexandre Desplat, Mark Isham, David Newman, Layla Schifrin, Robert Townsend, Brian Tyler, John Williams, Christopher Young, and other bonus features. So it's really amazing. I mean, and as the DVD, by the way, just amazing what you get in here. So why is this one of the most important sets ever made in the history of humanity? First of all, it's an incredible labor of love by Robert Townsend, who knows more about film music and cares about it more than any human being that has ever lived. Number 2, and this is the point I want to make by putting this in the most important, here we go this way, most important recordings in the universe category, projects in the universe. It was a project. It was a major project, coming up with all the music, reassembling it, doing this whole thing. I mean, this was a project with a capital P. But more than that, it is the project with a capital P that confirms a point that I've been trying to make throughout this channel and this series, which is that some of the greatest music in the 20th century was written for films. Some of the greatest composers in the 20th century were film music composers. Many of them, I might add, were American, which I think is a wonderful thing because, as usual in the United States, we crap all over our serious composers and serious musicians. And it's really only now that film music, film scoring, is being taken with the seriousness that it deserves. And when you see, for example, all the Naxos film score series and the others that take these films and do loving reconstructions of original scores and re-record all of the cues and do it with scholarly rectitude, that's the word, and dedication. I mean, Robert Townsend and Varèse Sarabande were the people who made that case. They made that case with an extraordinary catalog of recordings. And more than that, this is the project that shows what can be done when we love the music. And let's talk about the music. First of all, Alex North was a genius composer, an amazing composer, one of the great film score composers who had his own personal style, much like, Korngold or Miklos Rosa or any of the great film composers. But his style was uncompromisingly modernist. He could adapt, like all film composers must, to whatever the circumstances demanded. And so he did. But it was also his recognizable style. It was a harmonically acerbic style. It wasn't the most tuneful style, although the love theme, Varunia here, is the most melodic and traditionally tonal music in the entire score. But the score itself is really a modern piece of music. And if he had taken it and shaped it into a symphony and played it at a typical, concert scenario, at a typical American classical music concert or anywhere, European, you name it, people probably would have said, oh, I didn't like it. It didn't have enough tunes. It wasn't blah, 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 blah. You know that kind of stuff, right? And it's fascinating how when it's accompanied by Stanley Kubrick's amazingly huge, epic imagery and color and precision and detail and care and all the stuff that Kubrick was famous for, you don't think that the music is difficult. The music fits the film like a hand in a glove. And it uses oh my goodness, the instruments in here. It's like, I got to tell you this. This is amazing. They give you the composition of the orchestra for this thing. I got to find this. Here's the score. Let's see, page 32 of the booklet. I mean, here's a session picture with like a bazillion people. First of all, he uses all kinds of wonderful exotic percussion. He uses a proto in 1960 synthesizer. Here's the list. You cannot imagine. Here's the list of people. Players. I mean, you can't even count how many people were involved in this project. It was unbelievable. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 trombones alone. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 oboes, 5 bassoons, horns. I mean, just crazy numbers of people. Flutes and thousands of clarinets and zillions of strings, 3 harps, 3 guitars, a lute, 4 mandolins, 4 pianos. And one of the pianists is Ingolf Dahl. You believe it? Ingolf Dahl was one of the most formidable modern music theorists working in California. There was a disc of his music on Argo. He was kind of like a post-Hindemith American neoclassicist, modern music guy who wrote all kinds of books on theory and what. It's amazing. And Ingolf Dahl is a pianist in Spartacus in the studio orchestra. Can you believe it? I mean, it's like insane when you look at all the people who are involved in this thing. I mean, one of the cellists is Eleanor Aller. That is Mrs. Felix Slatkin, Leonard Slatkin's mom. She is one of the studio musicians in here. I wonder if her husband was in here because it's alphabetical. No, he wasn't in this production. He may have, I don't know if he passed away by then. Anyway, and then we've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 percussionists. I mean, it's just unbelievable. What was in this score. This is an everything but the kitchen sink production. And so everything about it was a project with a capital P. The film was, the score was, it may be Alex North's masterpiece, who knows, but the style is the personal style of a great composer, and Robert Townsend understood that, and he wanted to represent it in the best possible way, and he came up with this amazing limited edition, which I firmly insist is one of the most important productions in the history of recorded classical music. An extraordinary, extraordinary release by any definition. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining, and tune in for the next, the most important classical recordings ever. Take care.